kim tatah kim. Yasho me gatam dikshu dana pratapat jagadvastu sarvam kareyat prasadat manascena lagnam gurorang ripadme tatah kim tatah kim tatah kim tatah kim na bhoge na yoge na vavajirajau na kanta mukhe naiva vitteshu chittam munascena lagnam gurorang ripadne tatah kim tatah kim tatah kim tatah kim aranyena va swasya dehena karye dehe manovartate me tvanarghye munascena lagnam gurorang gripadne tatah kim tatah kim tatah kim tatah kim gurorashtakam yah pathet punya dehi yater bhupater brahmachari jagehi labhetvan chitartham nutanvam asangyam gurorang vakye mano yasya lagnam gurukta vakye mano yasya lagnam. Very nice. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Can you talk about Brahmanishtha? For example, does the Brahmanishtha still need to regulate? Why his mind? It could be her mind also. His or her mind. Okay? Yeah. Does the Brahmanishtha need to meditate? What do you think? Yes? No? Yes? First we have to understand what is Brahmanishtha. Brahmani nishtha yasya sah Brahmanishtha. Nishtha means nitaram sthitihi, constant abidance. So constant abidance in Brahman means what? It's not thinking of Brahman all the time. Thought number 1, Brahman. Thought number 2, Brahman. Thought number 3, dog. No. Thought number 4, Brahman. It's not like that. Because Brahman is not something, an object enclosed by the thought, like even our friend, the pot. When I say pot, the thought goes and encloses this pot and brings back the information, and that is one part of pot cognition called vritti vyapti. Then you say what? This is a pot. That is the phala of the knowledge, phala vyapti. So Brahman is not like a thought that goes and encloses whatever the object is. There is no object. Why? It's you. You cannot objectify yourself. Therefore, Brahmanistha does not mean someone who is constantly thinking about Brahman. It cannot mean that. It's just not possible. So what does Brahmanistha mean? Brahmanistha means the one who is reveling in this knowledge constantly. Reveling means everything, there is a certain cheerfulness. There is a, what is that? Everything makes the person happy. They see Ishvara everywhere at all times in whatever happens, including in their own self. It's not like, I am an idiot, but you are Ishvara. No. I am Ishvara, you are Ishvara, here an Ishvara, there an Ishvara, everywhere Ishvara, Ishvara. No more old Mac Jiva. No more. Okay? And so, therefore, Brahmanistha means the one who thinks his or her mind is also what? Brahman. Breath is also what? Brahman. Everything is Brahman. This is Brahmanistha. What else did they need to regulate? Let me read that. Regulate the mind, meditate. No, not the kind of meditation that we have been talking about in the opening, talks to chapter 6. There are two kinds of dhyana that are talked about in Vedanta. The first one is called upasana. Upasana means many different kinds of meditations are there. Meditation on the heart lotus, Hrit Pundarika Upasana. So the left chest cavity is full because the physical heart is there. We don't mess with that. We take the right chest cavity, which happens to be empty, and visualize Ishvara there, and then that is called Hrit Pundarika Upasana. The heart is a lotus, Bhagavan is sitting in the lotus. We did that also. I don't know if we did it in this particular 3-month course, but in one more 3-month course we had done that meditation here. Last time we did, last 3-month course we did that. Then another kind of upasana is Dakshini Aksha Upasana. The Purusha in the right eye meditation. So you visualize Bhagavan behind the eye. This is kind of like an open eye meditation, very effective. Very effective. I'll speak a little softly. Maybe that will help. So very effective upasana. And then you see, you are not seeing. Who is seeing? Bhagavan behind the right eye is seeing everything. Bhagavan behind the right eye is making everything happen. It's actually very beautiful. So like this, the idam graha upasana is there, where idam, a sacred object or a body part, is sanctified, and over that we see Bhagavan. Like Saligrame Vishnum Dhyayet. Nikrishta Vastuni Utkrishta Vastu Sthapya, Paristhapya. So what we do is that on a lowly object, Saligrama is not Vishnu, but it has the insignia of Vishnu. Same thing we find in other traditions also. Like the shape of the cross is not Christ, but it's an insignia. That is what it is. And so like this, it is sanctified, and then this is all, these are all various kinds of upasanas. Sampat upasana, and then a little more advanced upasana called ahangraha upasana, where you bring yourself also in. Like use your own right eye, that is part of it. And so various kinds of upasanas are there, whose purpose is what? clearing the ragadveshas from the mind. This is type 1 meditation. What is type 2 Vedantic meditation? Nididhyasana, post knowledge. So, post knowledge, there are two reasons to contemplate. One is to remove opposite feelings, habitual errors of identifying oneself as as a jiva, habits, old habits, how personality, the force of the personality still may be there after knowledge. So I keep reminding myself of who I am, and that becomes a meditation, contemplation, and that is one purpose of the contemplation. The second purpose is to revel in the knowledge, in the glory of oneself. So yes, the Brahmanishtha here, now that we know the meaning of the word, will do that. We may contemplate, may not contemplate also if it's not needed, may contemplate if they feel like it, but then I don't think they need to regulate the mind, because the mind has already, for a Brahmanishtha, been regulated already. It's only because of the regulated mind one becomes a Brahmanishtha. So they may have some, some personality things with regard to the mind and all, but they don't take the mind to be their own. There is no ownership of the mind. There is a story of a Zen master long back who he wanted to be alone. He did not want students at all. So then he would wait with a boulder in his hand outside his kutia. Whoever came, he lived on the top of a hill, whoever he saw scaling up the hill to come and please be my guru, if they started to say like that, he would simply roll down the boulder and everybody would get scared and run away. And some people were also flattened, and then they had to be taken to the hospital. Nobody died, but this is the story. And then one time, one clever student saw what was happening, like the fate of all these people. Some people ran down, some people fell down the mountain, broke a leg, broke a hand, all these things. He said, I'm going to be very clever and I'm going to scale the mountain from the back. Where is the guru standing? In the front, because that's the easy way to come. I'm going to scale from the back. And so what did he do? He scaled the mountain from the back. The guru is waiting with a boulder here, and he catches hold of the feet of the teacher and says, you have to take me as a student. He also got a little bit of the boulder because the guru was startled and dropped the boulder on his own legs and on the hands of the student, both. And so, of course, they took care of each other, and then that was the only student that the teacher had. So, like this, quirks will be there. There is a guru in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad who stayed he stays in the forest where no GPS is able to find him. Nobody is able to find him. And then he stayed underneath one broken down chariot, which somebody did not have a wheel, and they left the chariot there, and it was, in those days towing and all was not there perhaps. They just left it there and never came back for it. And he sat under the chariot and was full of skin disease of all kinds. Anybody went to him to say, oh Guru, please teach me, he would be keeping on examining the skin disease and scratching the scabs and then allowing everything to bleed and then dabbing the blood and then going on to another scab. A very uncouth looking guru. And so therefore what? This big king went to him, Janashruti. Janashruti took 9 elephants full of his kosha, his treasury, 9 elephants, and went to the guru and said, please teach me. and he heard the elephants rolling in. He said, "Take them back. I don't want your money. Take them back." And he was also, nobody could go near him. He was in a bad mood sometimes. People were scared. And these are all stories told to show that for a person of knowledge, these kind of quirks don't matter really, because they are not one with their mind. They are not identified with their mind. They are not identified with their anger. You see, after a certain point, a holy person is a holy person. They are not bound by the religion, they are not bound by the tradition, they are just a jnani. That's all it is. Doesn't matter what religion they come from, doesn't matter what is their upbringing, nothing. So, that we cannot hold, we cannot say you are not a Brahmanistha because you got angry like this or whatever. We see the whole thing. We see the entire person. So that is what I think we have covered that question. Next one. Where is the karma stored? Sanchita, Prarabdha and Agami. In which kosha? It's not stored in a kosha, thankfully. Okay. Then after death, in which body does it go with? Sukshma Sharira. Sukshma Sharira is the vehicle for karma. It is the vehicle for all the desires, all the karma. The Sukshma Sharira carries the karma. So if you have a lot of karma and you are feeling shy about climbing into the plane of the Sukshma Sharira, don't worry. They will not charge excess kilos. This first plane ride after death is free. And you can bring as much baggage, pun intended, as much baggage as you want. So, prarabdha won't be there. Why? Because the point of death is when the prarabdha finishes. That is when death happens. Prarabdha gone, sanchita is not travelling, sanchita is stored. Where? Don't ask. It's a secret location. If you knew where, you will go and mess up the numbers. They will not tell. Only Gupta ji knows. Gupta ji? Who? Chitragupta. Yes. The presiding deity of all karma. People worship. There are clans and people in India who see Chitragupta as their Ishta Devata. Chitragupta knows. Because he is the original accountant. Unerring accountant, and unlike present day accountants, no double books. And you cannot bribe Chitragupta, please make that papa into punya. No, nothing happens for you, come on. No. Secret bank account. Offshore, overseas. You don't know where it is. It is there. Why? Because the Agami karma gets a free ride in the Sukshma Sharira plane, and then you go to other planes with the help of this vehicle, and then Tatra Prapya Punyakritan Lokan Ushitva Shashvatihi Samaha Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Bhrashtha Abhijayate. Scenario number 1. So, having enjoyed all the realms of punya, then is reborn again into a household which is all the time chanting the Upanishad, all the time chanting Rudram, all the time studying the Veda. In this kind of a household that's conducive to the quest. Scenario number 1. Scenario number 2. Tetam bhuktva svargalokam vishalam Kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. Having enjoyed various realms in and lokas, They come back to the world of mortals with a new prarabdha, with a new body. Scenario number 2. And then what kind of a law governs these two scenarios that the Kathopanishad will tell? Yonimanye prapadyante sharirattvaya dehinah sthanumanye anuyanti yatha karma yatha shrutam. So, yoni means birth canals. Various birth canals, the causes of birth, various avatars, various kinds of bodies they get. For what? Sharirattvaya, for the sake of getting a body. A body is important because there is a whole list. Bucket list is the list you make before you die. What is this list? I don't know. Interlife list. Yeah, so for the next life also, this person has planned. This life I couldn't enjoy this because I had a funny tummy. Next life I want to eat. Hippo, that's all. Okay? Yeah. Don't have to worry about weight ever. Don't have to. Hippo is not worried I'm putting on weight. No, not at all. Easily 400 pounds, nothing. Yeah, 300 kilos, no problem. Once I went to one sanctuary and they said, we can go at the feeding time and see the hippos. I said, okay. So they were there on the other side. Thankfully there was some, wall between us. And then they said, we can throw this sandwich. And they are expert catchers, they will catch expertly. But first you have to make eye contact with them so that they know they are throwing, somebody is throwing, and then they will catch. It was quite a big sandwich, quite a big size bread and something they had put, I don't know what, some lettuce, leaves and all these things. And so it was attached with toothpicks so that when you throw it, it doesn't come apart. So I threw it, and this small hippo, still not quite a baby, not quite an adult, adolescent hippo caught it. When it went inside its mouth, the sandwich became so small. Such a big mouth it has. So, yonimanye prapadyante sharirattvaya. Otherwise, sthanumanye anuyanti. Otherwise, one can become a plant or a tree. That is also a life form. They have feelings. All these things are there. They do express themselves. We don't know their language. People put electrodes and try to see. They did a study, Secret Life of Plants, in 1923. So they studied how the plants were before one fellow went in and then just scared them with a stick, trying to beat a room full of plants in a nursery, trying to beat them with a stick and all these things. And then the plants registered, that were hooked up to the electrodes, registered a level of distress. 10 years ago, that same man comes into this room and they recognized him. The surviving plants, which were now trees, recognized him and showed the same level of distress. Maybe not 10 years, few years, whatever it was. They recognized him and they had not forgotten. So they are very intelligent. And you see how the creeper goes towards the sun, always. When does it do that? We don't know. Even if you unwind it the way it is growing and make it grow on this side, you go to sleep, the next morning it will be on that side. So this way, one becomes, in the next life, one becomes a plant according to the Veda. And so the Sukshma Sharira is the carrier of the Agami Karma. Sanchita is stored, Prarabdha is gone. Sri Ramakrishna says, Brahman and Shakti are inseparable. Yes. That's why we don't have a problem with Bhagavan as he or she. She is he and he is she. Inseparable. Why? Because there is no Maya that is separate from Brahman, number one. So that which we call goddess, it is coded as feminine, but that doesn't mean it is, it's coded as feminine because of the connection with creation. That's the only reason. And the word Maya is feminine. It's just a division of labor between the intelligence and the cause, the material cause, and what we call the intelligence cause or the nimitta karana, upadana karana, are resting in one being, and then they project forth this universe, they sustain this universe, and when it's time to take it back, they not only take back the universe, but the very Ishvaratvam is resolved. That also becomes part of the pralaya. Jivatvam, jivaness resolved, Ishvaraness resolved. All that is there is consciousness. And the sattva, rajas, tamas are latent in a certain equilibrium. And then we can say that the unmet desires of the various jivas are the cause for this equilibrium to be disturbed, because these jivas are upset. Why? So many desires, no body. Without body, how can you fulfill the desire? Not at all. So that is the reason when there is the equilibrium is little bit upset, then the so-called creation comes forth. It is very much like the Big Bang, very much like that. And then the process of then multiplication, etc., like the quarks becoming particles and etc., that is how the whole thing takes place. So Brahman and Ishvara and Ishvari are one thing, because Maya cannot be a parallel reality to Ishvara. If it is a parallel reality, the loose ends are not tied up. Why? Because where was this Maya before? Who created Maya? And then if it's a parallel reality to Brahman, then there are two things, Brahman and Maya. Then it cannot be, Brahman can no longer be limitless. All these problems come. Therefore we say that all that is here is one Ishvara, non-separate from Shakti. I have some doubt regarding subtle distinctions between avidya, moola avidya, moola prakriti, tamas. What are the differences? Avidya, general term, opposite of vidya, meaning wherever there is no vidya, avidya will be there. The two cannot occupy the same time, same place at once. So this is avidya. And what was the other one? Moola avidya. Moola avidya is a term used by the Bhamatikaras. Who are Bhamatikaras? People who subscribe to this philosophy of Bhamati. What is Bhamati? Who is Bhamati? Vachaspati Mishra's commentary on the Brahma Sutra that has brought about almost like a darshana. And there are significant differences between between some aspects. So we have Bhamati school, and the other one that we follow is Vivarana. Vivarana school started by Swami, not started, codified by Swami Prakashatman. So there was one Prakashatman Swami, and then he wrote talking about some things that he disagreed in the Bhamati, and so the Bhamati makes this, the Bhamati people who follow Bhamati make a difference between Moola Avidya and Tula Avidya. What is Moola Avidya? Not knowing one's nature. Tula Avidya is avidya of objects. We don't bother. Avidya is avidya. Whether it's subject avidya or objects avidya, objects ultimately, do they exist or not? They don't exist. So why bother coining a special avidya for them? We don't bother with that. So that is Moola Avidya from that standpoint. And then Moola Prakriti. Moola Prakriti, we talked about this Para Prakriti. Apara Prakriti and Para Prakriti. Apara Prakriti is in the form of the raw material. Para Prakriti is the cause of Apara Prakriti. Apara Prakriti, the raw material comes and goes. Para Prakriti is always there in a latent form. She is called Avyakta, also called Avyakta. Tamas. Tamas could be Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, but in deep sleep state, it is also the same as Avidya. What are the different types of Samadhi? Some may already be enjoying one type as we speak. So, I don't know. Okay. So, what are the different types of Samadhi? First, we make a distinction. Broad distinction. What is that? Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Vikalpa means no options, no thoughts. Then how is it different from sleep? What is the difference between sleep and Nirvikalpa Samadhi? In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you do not snore. In sleep, snoring will be there, may be there. That's the only difference. And you are awakened, you are awake to nothing in particular. That is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And then we have Savikalpa Samadhi through mantra japa, etc., etc., where you follow a certain train of thought. There is vikalpa there, and then that is further divided into two. Shabdanuviddha Savikalpa Samadhi. Shabda Anuviddha means going along with a certain kind of a sound. It could be a bell. We did that once here. When one day, remember, there was that howling wind, we did Shabdanuviddha Savikalpa Samadhi. If you have attended meditation, you will know what I am talking about. Okay. So, so instead of seeing any sound, seeing means when you hear the sound, instead of viewing any sound as a disturbance to the meditation, you help it to aid the meditation. How we did with that wind. So, you help it to aid the meditation, and so you go along with it. Anuviddha means going along with the shabda, sound. Any sound. It doesn't have to be one sound. That day we were lucky because Vayu Devata was very fierce and he was howling and making all kinds of rustling noises, everything. But then it's not that there will be only one sound. There may be the sound of the person sweeping outside. There's a rhythmic shush, shush, shush sound. I have the choice. I can take it as a disturbance. I can in fact go tell him, why are you sweeping now? We are meditating. Sweep after half an hour. I can go tell him. But it's more fun to go along with the shush, shush, shush and see where the mind goes. The mind is following that. but then I am still in spite the sweeping sound. Then the sweeping sound side by side, we can hear the river on certain days. There is a constant water sound. Then the birds are there, chirping sound is there. So many other people may be talking sounds are there. So many things are there. This is called Shabdanuviddha Savikalpa Samadhi. And then there is another kind called Drishyanuviddha Savikalpa Samadhi, where you go along with whatever sights there are. This is obviously an open-eyed samadhi. You park yourself in one place, keep the eyes half open, and whatever comes in the line of sight, you take that to go into samadhi. See Ishvara in everything. Be with it. So these are some kinds of samadhi. The question, there is a part 2. To what extent does the study of Sankhya, Nyaya systems aid in our understanding and internally assimilating the vision of Vedanta? Generally we don't need Sankhya. Who is there now following Sankhya? Not many people. Nyaya, nobody even knows what Nyaya is. These were the sparring partners of the ancient sages such as Adi Shankara, etc. Vaisheshika, Vainashika, Sankhya, Ekadeshi. Ekadeshi means the Purva Pakshi who suddenly comes. Jnana Karma Samuchaya Vadin. And then who else? And then Bauddha, the Buddhist. These were all the sparring partners. Why? Because if you have something to prove, this is just like writing a PhD. If you want to write a PhD thesis, you just cannot say whatever you want to say. You have to look at the scholarship that is there, that has already gone, meaning that is your contemporaneous scholarship has to be looked into. You have to see what they are saying, and you have to say where you agree with them and where you disagree with them. Any kind of a responsible theology has to do this. And same with Advaita. So these were all sparring partners, and because they were having a say in those days, and they were proliferating in certain respects, certain areas, and so therefore it was important to hold up the candle of Vedanta in among all these other contemporary colleagues and see how well it does, as a very beautiful exercise of not just knocking somebody down because you want to win. No, to be able to see their statements and to critique it from the standpoint of Advaita. This was not done to show off one's knowledge. This was done to be more established in the knowledge, because I am not the kind, sometimes what happens, like in the nascent stages, somebody says Ishvara is one. Yeah, that sounds good. Ishvaras are many, because you see how many gods there are in the temple. Yeah, that also sounds good. In the nascent stages of spiritual study, everything sounds good. Therefore, this Purva Paksha Siddhanta approach of having these sparring partners is to deeply assimilate the knowledge through a Nyaya, a maxim called Sthanu Nikandana Nyaya. If you want to erect 4 poles, because there is sometimes they do that in front of the house, if something auspicious is going to happen, to tell all the neighbors. So they erect 4 poles in front of the house, and they put a kind of a thatched, fresh coconut palm leaf roof, and they hang some nice decoration, fruits and flowers around it, sometimes coconuts also, sometimes they have lights and flowers, all these things, very beautiful. But then that though the poles holding this temporary structure, they have to be strong. If they are not strong, let's say there is a marriage in the house, the bride and groom are coming and the whole thing falls on them. Very inauspicious. So therefore, when the poles, first they dig out the hole for the pole, they put the pole, they tamp in more dirt and then they stamp on it, and then after that what do? They take it and shake it. If it shakes, that means it cannot hold the toran and all that. It cannot hold it. If it does not shake, yes, it is strong enough to hold the fruits and the flowers and the palm leaves to make it into a nice kind of a mantap, a kind of a scaffolding to indicate that something auspicious is happening inside this very house. And therefore what? Therefore, we have this same thing. These Sankhya, Vaisheshika, Nayayika, etc., they are helping us. They are our personal trainers. Like when you go to the gym, some people have personal trainers. They say, do this. No, I can't. Yes, you can. Do this. Push. Go forward. You can do this. They help us to go forward and gain strength in our own vision. And that is why it is good to study them. Before there was, many classes. Now, what will happen in the 3-year course, 1 week of these fellows we will study and say goodbye, because we don't want to expose ourselves too much to these fellows in the nascent stages also, because that's another problem. Okay. Talking about mukti. How does this happen? We accumulate a lot of punya, enter Brahmaloka, and then Lord Brahma then decides who to liberate and who to send back to earth. No. Okay. Is there a protocol, pathway, flow chart? Path to mukti. Yeah. So, you gather a lot of punya, but you can't gather enough punya to enter Brahmaloka. To enter Brahmaloka, what do you have to do? Half the time you have to be going like this. Can't say my shoulder is paining, I am out of ghee. You cannot be out of ghee. You keep the fire burning and keep on offering. Even in the sleep your hand should be going like this. Half the time you do homa, the other half the time, I can relax. No, upasana. This is what is called jnana karma samuchaya. Jnanam here is upasana. And the belief is, it will create so much punya that you go to the last loka. Bhuhu, bhuvaha, suvaha, mahaha, tapaha, janaha, tapaha, satyam. This satyam is aka Brahmaloka. So you go there. It's not that Brahmaji takes one look at you and says, not you. No, it's not whimsical, okay? So, Brahmaji will put everyone on a diet of Vedanta Shastra. Brahmaji will start to teach, and you are very excited because you are getting directly taught by the creator of the universe. OMG, this is wonderful. Fantastic! What kind of a teacher he will be, this is great. Opens the book. You can't quite see what book. Kene shitam preshitam patati manaha. Kena pranaf prathamam praiti yuktaha. Kene shitam vachamimam vadanti chakshushrotram kaudevo yunakti. This is a very special quote from the Ishavasya Upanishad. No? Are you sure? Okay. Okay. Why I gave it away? Because every line started with Kena, 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 Kena. Then you are disappointed. What for? I did all that homa, all that upasana. Here, freely I was getting, without doing homa, upasana, without gathering a lot of punya. So, moksha is not a product of punya. It's not karma phala. What is it? Purushartha, not prarabdha based, not karma phala based. And then what is here is the flow chart. The flow chart goes in a circle, full circle. The sadhaka goes here, there, everywhere, wanders everything, comes back to the one who is already free. I tell you, if you were not already free, no amount of teaching is going to help. Teaching helps because it is siddha vastu. It is not sadhya vastu. Sadhya vastu, sadhya vastu means something to be accomplished. Siddha vastu means something already accomplished. So sadhya vastu, if it is something to be accomplished, then you need punya. It is away from you. You can go as far as Brahmaloka to gain it. Siddha vastu, if you have to accomplish, it is already accomplished. But I don't know it. Okay, that we can help. You have to know it. So the flow chart for moksha is as follows. First, be in samsara. Arrow, 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 leading to the next part. Then you understand, I am miserable. I am misery personified. Then arrow, 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 leading to Guru, Gurukula, etc. Then you go to the Gurukula. Arrow, arrow, arrow to the bookstore. Then you buy the books for the 3 months course or whatever is needed. Arrow, arrow, arrow to the classroom. Then you flow to the classroom. Sit in front of the teacher and then study. Because you are already free, this is how you, as though, become free. Vimuktascha vimuktaha. And then, this is the protocol, this is the pathway. Then, it seems that the body is an ever-changing set of sensation, touch, heat, etc. And that thoughts are just images, sounds, until there is an identification with them due to I, me, my thoughts. Then a me appears. The only way that the concept of deep sleep makes sense to me is if I think of the body-mind waking in awareness. In this case, the only me that wakes is a set of I, me, my thoughts along with a set of memories, tendencies that also wake up with the body. If this is the case, there is no me in deep sleep and nothing to travel on death, i.e. no jiva. No. That means everybody will want to die in sleep only, because then there is no travel. No, travel is there. Travel is there. Why? Because jiva is there. You are not absent in sleep. You are absent of specific experiences in sleep. You are absent You are devoid of specific impressions that you may have in the waking and the dream in sleep, but you are not absent. How do you know? When you wake up, what do you tell me? I slept very well. Not enough, but very well. Right? And so, you can't say that you are absent. Up till a certain point, you are correct. There is no I, me, mine. There are no thoughts in sleep. The thoughts are gone because the mind is in a causal state. Thoughts are gone, thoughts are not there. And then, yes, when you wake up, everything appears. Complaints appear, body, mind, sense, complex awareness is there. And then all these problems appear, tendencies appear, everything is there. So there is no me, means there is no ahankara in deep sleep. You are there. You as an individual, Satchidananda Atma, as though living in the upadhi of the body, mind, sense complex, is very much there. Definitely there. And so there are things to travel on death. On death, that individual will go taking the plane of the Sukshma Sharira. So when people pass away in their sleep, what does that mean? It's not that they got moksha. No. They also can come back. They will come back if they have Atma Ajnanam. So, therefore, although it is very auspicious to pass off in sleep, it's very auspicious, considered very auspicious. Why? No suffering. No suffering. And no worry, no anxiety, no pain, no sorrow. Didn't even know and just slipped away. It is considered very auspicious if somebody were to pass away in their sleep. And because of all the medical intervention, that is a rare occurrence. Rarely do people pass in their sleep. But it is very much seen as a, what's its name? A wonderful occurrence. But that does not mean that they won't travel. If a jnani passes away in sleep, yes, because although the body, mind, sense complex is there, it was left behind, body is left behind. When the jnani passes away, there is no coming back. Jiva was there, jivatvam is not there. I am identified as the jiva is not there even in the waking state. That's why you can't get, what is that called? Atmajnanam in sleep or dream. If you get Atmajnanam in dream, then what will happen? In the waking state, again, you will awaken to all kinds of complaints. That's why it doesn't work. So therefore, in the waking state only, where there is doership, where there is, what is the other one? Experiencership. That is where these two ships have to be allowed to go. You have to set sail to these ships and wave them goodbye. And that can happen only in waking state. In dream state, only bhoktritvam is there. Kartritva buddhi is not there. There is no doership in dream. So the dream state, you cannot get moksha because the doership has not been dismissed. So in the waking state alone, one is both a doer and one is done in by other people's doing, an experiencer. Then only you can do this. Okay? All right. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritangamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः।